This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Elon Musk tends to overpromise and underdeliver vehicle and product launches, but now he's adamant he is going to deliver FSD before the year is out. Musk says he, quote, is trying to ideally get it in wide release in the US by the end of the year. And it goes beyond the US too. He said Tesla will also release FSD in Europe, depending on regulatory approval. Despite a lot of volatility in stock markets, Porsche is expected to officially announce its IPO next week. Bloomberg says Porsche could be valued at 60 to 85 billion euros, and that would give it a market cap greater than General Motors. Some investors are complaining about Porsche's corporate governance because IPO investors will be sold preferred shares that don't carry any voting rights. The voting rights all go to the Porsche and Piech families. But even so, the investment community is likely to buy as many shares as it can get its hands on. Tensions between the United States and China are the highest they've been in years, but both countries managed to find some common ground on how to deal with Chinese companies that are listed on U.S. stock exchanges. In the U.S., all publicly listed companies are legally required to let U.S. regulators audit their financial reports. But in China, it's illegal to let foreign regulators audit Chinese companies. That threatened to kick 200 Chinese companies off U.S. stock exchanges, including EV startups like BYD, Xpeng, Geely, Great Wall, NIO, and Li Auto. But now the U.S. and China have a working solution. American regulators will have free access to Chinese info, but they will have to conduct their audits in Hong Kong. Reuters reports that if U.S. regulators are satisfied they're getting all the info that they need, then they'll rule that China is in compliance with U.S. law.
At Schaeffler, we pioneer motion. Electrifying mobility, manufacturing smarter, reducing CO2 emissions, making energy production clean. Schaeffler pioneers motion to advance how the world moves.
We want to know what drives your testing. OTA, connected car, diagnostics, remote testing. Intrepid Control Systems is here to help you work from anywhere. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
Toyota is betting that hybrids are the best solution for carbon reduction, but Chinese media reports that it missed the boat in China. While Toyota doubled down on hybrids, EVs are taking the Chinese market by storm. Toyota only has one EV in its lineup, the BZ4X crossover, but it's following that up with the BZ3, an electric four-door sedan that will be out later this year. It's getting its batteries and electric drivetrain from BYD. There's not a lot of info on the car, but it's rear-wheel drive and offers two power choices, 183 horsepower or 244. We should get information about the pricing sometime in November. Speaking of Toyota, unlike most automakers, it's quite bullish on e-fuels. Those are carbon-neutral liquid fuels that can be used in IC engines. Speaking to reporters at an event in Michigan last week, Gil Pratt, the chief scientist of Toyota, says they're doing a lot of R&D with e-fuels. He said the energy density is better than EV batteries, and the infrastructure is already in place to move liquid fuels. But there are a couple of big hurdles to overcome. E-fuels still take more energy to make than they supply, and they're significantly more expensive than gasoline. But Toyota is not the only automaker looking into e-fuels. Porsche says it will produce an e-fuel later this year, but that will be used in race cars. Luxury automakers try and set themselves apart by creating unique experiences, and Bentley is taking that to a new level. The Bentley Residences are a series of luxury apartments in Miami that, quote, integrate Bentley design throughout each and every corner. But you don't just pull into a garage at one of these places. No, each resident gets their own 3 or 4 car storage space right in their apartment. And a specially designed elevator will carry the owner and their car right to their floor. Their Bentley is fitted with RFID stickers that are automatically scanned upon arrival. Then hydraulic arms lock down the tires before the car is moved to a shuttle system. And with Bentley shift to electric, each garage has its own EV charger. Speaking of luxury brands, happy 120th anniversary to Cadillac, which was the first company to mass produce a V8 engine and the first to offer a V16 powered production car. And a happy anniversary to Opel, which is turning 160 years old. Founded in 1862, it started out making sewing machines, then went on to become the world's largest bicycle maker before getting into making cars.
With global reach across 3 continents, Teijin Automotive technologies make vehicles lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly. Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility.
Another day, another EV battery factory announcement. This time it's Honda partnering with LG Energy Solution to open a battery plant in the U.S. The companies will invest $4.4 billion in the plant to make up to 40 gigawatt hours annually. They didn't announce where the plant will go, but other reports say it will be in Ohio, where Honda has the bulk of its U.S. manufacturing operations. It's supposed to open in 2025. The decision to open a plant in the U.S. comes hot on the heels of the Inflation Reduction Act, which gives tax credits to EVs with batteries made in the USA. Chinese automaker BYD is serious about establishing the brand in Europe. It currently sells EVs in Norway, and over the next few months it will expand into the Netherlands, Germany, and Sweden. And now the assistant general manager of BYD Europe tells Autocar that the company is, quote, seriously thinking about opening a manufacturing plant in Europe. He says there aren't any concrete plans, but if the brand does well, it will consider building a factory in the region. BYD produces all of its vehicles at 5 factories in China and will export EVs from there to Europe. Australians love their big American pickup trucks. Well, wealthy Australians do. Those trucks have to be imported and then converted to right-hand steer, and they sell for well over 100 grand. Even so, Chevrolet, Ram, and Ford sell thousands of their full-size pickups in Australia. And now Toyota is following suit. It signed an agreement with Australian company Walkinshaw to convert Tundra pickups to right-hand steer. And we want to thank our Australian viewer, Warwick Dundas, for bringing this story to our attention. And by the way, we get a lot of good suggestions from you, our viewers. So if you see something that you think we ought to take a look at, just let us know. But that brings us to the end of today's show. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you again tomorrow.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Experience Dolby Atmos, anywhere, anytime. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. Scheffler, we pioneer motion. and by Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility.